Dana, we really haven't had a chance to talk to you much since Fedor signed with Strikeforce.
Yep.
So could you give us, we heard you on the conference call, you said it was insanity that they turned down that offer.
Here's the thing, man, and I'm at a point now where I'm just so sick of talking about this guy because they make me so crazy that anybody would consider this guy the best in the world. You know, I was saying this before. Now, who the fuck is he gonna fight? Who's he gonna fight? Nobody. He's not gonna fight anybody. He's gonna fight nobodies, and I just don't understand it. I don't get it. Before, okay, you know, they were claiming that there was some things in the contract they couldn't live with. Funny, every other fighter on earth, you know, could sign the contract, including, you know, Tito Ortiz 2 times, who we had big problems with, and we just signed him for a 3rd time. Brock Lesnar, who came from the WWE, was in this huge lawsuit with Vince and all this other stuff. He signed it and just signed a new one again. You know what I mean? All these other guys can sign, but Fedor can't.
Did you get a sense that the negotiations you had were by telephone? Did you ever get to talk to Fedor directly like you wanted?
No, didn't. I was out of the country, and but we did it on a conference call. We had a representative in the room with them, and then Lorenzo and I were on the phone. But I seriously, I was like, I told Lorenzo the day before, I said, I'm going to get on a plane, I'm going to fly there, I'm going to go there, I'm going to go there. And he kept saying, you can't go there, we got shit we got to do here. And then after it was over, it was like, if I was sitting on Fedor's lap, that deal wouldn't have got done. It didn't matter. The deal was not going to get done. We went in there to do a deal, they didn't.
What I don't understand about your stance, though, is that you often say he's not that great a fighter. You said that people don't know who he is. If that being the case, why would you offer him that kind of money and go to the lengths you've gone to?
Because that's what I do. That's what we do for a living. People want to see this fight. People want to know who the best is. It's my job to make that fight happen. You know what I mean? People wanted to see Ken and Tito when Ken had already lost 6 times in a row. I put on the fights that people want to see. People want to see if he's the best in the world. Let's find out. My thing is, and always has been, the best fighters in the world fight the best 3 times a year. You know what I mean? Look at these guys. I mean, these guys are all fighting the best, and they will. After this fight's over, they'll fight again in another 4 months, and the guy they fight will be a tough guy, one of the top fighters in the world. This guy hasn't done that in years.
And when you go back to, like, let's stop the clock at 05 after he beat Mirko Krokop and Nogueira, do you think he's the best in the world at that point?
Yeah. Listen, you can't. What he did back in 2003, 4, and 5 has nothing to do with today.
Right, but
it's almost 2010.
So I'm trying to get your feeling on the guy. So basically, in 05, you said, hey, he's the best fighter in the world. Now, subsequently,
well, here's the thing. He was one of the best fighters in the world. You don't know who the best are until you match them all up. We finally got into a position where, you know, you always had pride in the UFC. Who's the best? You know, we finally were able to answer all those questions, except that one. We couldn't answer that question. Why don't they want to answer that question? It's definitely not about money. It's definitely not about contracts now. What's it really about? I don't know. I don't get it.
You've always spoken highly about Strikeforce, but are the gloves off now? They're having a conference call at the very same time with Fedor as your press conference. You're going to look upon Strikeforce as benignly. You always said when people come at you, you're there. Have they come at you now?
You just answered your own question. They should have stayed the way they were.
So you're going to do the same thing you did with Affliction and counter program, and
we'll see what happens. You want to fight me? We're going to fight. We know how that goes, and we know how it ends.
So what do you think of their move to bring in Fedor? Is it actually a bad move? Is it counterproductive?
He'll put them out of business. They have no money. These guys have no money and they have no distribution. 4 fucking people watch Showtime. Their last fight they put on, do you know how many people watched that fight? 245,000 people watched that fight.
But in all due respect, I mean, we got huge traffic on Arlovsky and Rogers on our side. I mean, huge traffic. So, I mean,
MMA fans, that's what they do. MMA fans, that's what they do. But 245,000 people watched it.
so it was a bad job of promoting it. But when people knew it happened, they seemed to be interested, weren't they?
People looked for the results but didn't watch it. You don't run a business that way.
Do you think that fans and perhaps your fighters are losing respect for Fedor because he's not going to fight?
There's no doubt about it. You should see all the stuff that came in on my Twitter and emails and all that stuff after they didn't sign. You know, I went in there. I just signed Tito. The whole affliction thing had just happened. I mean, things were just going. I said, this deal's going to happen. You know, and we went in there 100% ready to make a deal and guaranteed that it was going to happen. And you know, I was literally miserable for 2 days because it didn't. And then I said, fuck it, man. I'm not letting this thing weigh me down anymore.
So you have no regret you didn't do it face to face? I mean, couldn't you have you wouldn't have had a better chance doing it face to face?
I'm telling you right now, if you were on this call, it wouldn't have mattered if we flew to Russia, sat in his living room. We weren't doing a deal that day. There was no way in hell. It wasn't going to happen. You know?
Would your offer have made him the highest paid UFC fighter if he accepted it?
We offered him a great deal. I guarantee you, the deal that he got at Strikeforce isn't even in the fucking universe of what he got. I'm talking not even close. The deal he got at Strikeforce probably isn't even the deal that he had at Affliction. You know what I mean? They have no money.
Dana, can I ask you a question?
And they have no fighters. They have nobody to fight. If you look at the way they've run their business, I mean, they're a small-time show that's trying to act big, that has some, you know, some guy. Everything they do makes. Kung Lee hasn't defended his title since like 1997. Josh Thompson hasn't defended his title in something like 2 years. Who's the other title holder over there? Hasn't defended his title in 2 years. Strikeforce. I mean, it's a joke. It's a tiny little regional show with nobody in it. Does it make sense? It makes no sense.
The fact that you got a deal done with Tito after all this time, is that the clearest sign of how bad the negotiations were with Fedor?
Not about how bad the deal went. It's just it's completely obvious that they don't want to do a deal. For whatever reason it is, believe me, I've tried to figure it out. I have no clue. They don't want to fight in the UFC.
Real quick. So the fact that the numbers came out, whether they're right or not, 6 fights and 30 million, is that going to backfire on you down the road when Silva's up or Lesnar's up? Because you guys have tried to keep money kind of under wraps and not let people know about it.
People don't know shit. You don't know anything about that negotiation either. But he got offered a lot of money. These guys make a lot of money. You ain't gonna hear any of these guys crying about what they're making, believe me. You know, I'd say pretty much everybody on this podium today is rich. These guys are all rich, man. Believe me, there's nobody worrying about money or crying about money. And I don't ever worry about that. I mean, we take good care of the guys. The guys that fight in the UFC make a lot of money, believe me.